All right, welcome back to another Owatonna Wrestling Weekly podcast. Sitting here with Coach Gabe Hovden, middle school coach, freestyle and Greco director for the OWA, captain's practice czar, leader, drill sergeant. You throw all that out there, and guy that travels year round for the sake of our wrestlers. So,
yeah. Well, and hey, I haven't done this. I'm sitting next to Coach Johnson here, varsity coach. What's the something with the board? I can't think of the
like an advisor.
Advisor for the board.
Yeah, there you go.
But varsity coach, JV coach, 9th grade coach, just in his hands and everything, which is a good thing.
Yeah, good and bad. I got to get better at delegating. But, yeah. So, before we kick it off, for this week, it's the week of January 15th. But first, we have our sponsor, Summer Media Solutions, Mr. Scott Summer, FAA Part 107 certified. And the reason, like FAA for photographer, videographer, because he's a drone pilot and a very accomplished one, and you can see his work through his website of Summer Media Solutions or through any of the social media that we do with the Owatonna Wrestling Association. That's the youth, the middle school, the high school. He has his hands in all of it and does such a great job and makes us look like, we constantly look like a D1 program with
the video. Just watching the highlights and the highlight videos. Up at the junior high or the middle school the other week, he was up there and looking at them pictures and how he does it. It's awesome.
Yeah, very, very professional looking. We love that. Incredibly active throughout. And then also I'd call you the executive producer of this podcast as well. Getting it out to all channels, including the iTunes, YouTube with the video and everything like that, which takes some editing. People think it just goes like directly there. No, he's got to sync up audio and video and make sure everything is smooth and looks professional. So thank you to Scott Summer of Summer Media Solutions. And also on the fly, whipped up a flyer for me last week. He does all of those things too. Anything we need graphics wise. So he's just so handy, so versatile. But we had a big week last week. We always have this one every single year, the second week of January. It's Northfield, and then it's the Zumbrota duels. So we're always getting up for that. It's always a big challenge, and this year was a lot of fireworks throughout as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it looks like it. I'll let you start with the Northfield match. I got to watch on the Northfield live, actually, is what I watched it on, and it was hard listening to them too.
I bet it was just great play-by-play.
It was great play-by-play for Owatonna, I'll tell you that.
Jeez. Yeah. So, we lost 25-30. Should have been 26-30, but either way.
Yeah.
And so we played with the lineup a little bit. We had Jacob Wilson at 114, weigh in at 107, because he's a very light 114, very undersized. So we played a little bit of chicken with them, and they have a stud wrestler, Callie Graber, who will end up wrestling in the girls' tournament for sections and state. I think she won it pretty handily last year. And but if she went for the boys, she'd be ranked right now. Yeah. She's an absolute stud at 107. And so we had Jacob Wilson go out there and try to keep her. His mission was major decision or under, which he accomplished, major decision. So saved some team points there. And then we flipped to where Kaden Lindquist went to 114, got a major up there.
Okay.
Now, I don't think we're going to do that in the end. I think the rest of the way we're going to keep Wilson at 114. Just because we're actually pretty confident now that Lindquist could probably just flat out beat Graber.
Yep.
He's ranked number 7 right now at 107. And then we had Donnie grab a major. He's really maturing and pouring it on and not just going for himself but going for the team now.
Okay.
That's been great. Lane went out. They went away from Lane. Caden Staub, coach's son.
Yeah.
Bumped him up away from Lane for now.
Okay.
That'll be a section deal down the line.
Yep.
So Lane got the pin, and then it almost backfired on him because Jaden Jurley almost got the win over Caden Staub, who's been in and out of the rankings, at 133. This was a night of near misses.
Okay.
Because we kind of got everything we wanted. They then had one of the Harner boys, the not as good Harner at 139 on Parker Casas. And Casas was leading that match for a hot second. And so it was looking like, Jaden Jurley almost got the win. Casas almost got the win. And then a tale of two ranked kids that always see each other in the offseason. Trey Hiatt at 145 versus Zane Engels. And they'll see each other again. Heated rivalry. And Trey could have gotten 3 takedowns in the first period. It ended up 0-0 out of the first, I believe, because just barely slipped away, maybe contentious whether or not Engels had his hand on the mat when he was behind. I don't know. That was still quick enough to where I'd let that go ref-wise. But nonetheless, it was kind of like that all night where Trey was another one, and everyone battled hard. It was great to see. Honestly, it wasn't like really boneheaded mistakes or anything like that. 52, our sophomore 152, Riley Kreeger, who's been a very surprising bright spot for us, went out and took care of business, got the pin, and did so in a very impressive fashion. That's the first time I've seen him really fight off legs, which is great. The kid had a double leg ride, and he defended that really well. Got docked a team point for excessive celebration. Anything they do now celebration-wise is they're really cracking down on it. It's a team point, which this one I would say, it constituted it.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's like, that's just excitement or whatever. Yeah. But this one was definitely like, I just won the Olympics.
Yeah, I seen that. So, I mean, when I was watching, I was like, but I'll say the Northfield broadcasters, they didn't know who got nailed for the team point. Yeah. They didn't see it as that.
Sure.
So, I mean, but the ref's the ref. It's his decision.
I knew it right away. I just put my head down and yelled at him, get off the bench. Yeah. I was pretty upset, but and because it wasn't his first offense. I love Riley, and for him, he's new to it in the terms of like last year, anytime he was on varsity, he had a rough go. Yeah. He was a freshman wrestling like 133. So I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy that now he's an above 500 varsity wrestler at a big man weight, 152. But we got to act like we've been there before. A little bit of that. There's a time and a place.
Yep, and now that he's had the experience, it's time to control.
Right, right. And then 60, the other Staub, the older Staub, went against Carter Flatland. I think they thought that one was going to be just a walkaway. And Carter took him down to the final minute. So close, so close. There was a little bit of stoppage time that kind of bailed out Staub a little bit. He was able to catch his breath from that. So a little frustrating there, but had him on the ropes. And then because we got the flip we wanted, we bumped up RJ away from 172, sent out Logan Risser against last year's starter, Ian Schweik. And Risser came out on fire and was winning, I think, 4-2 after the first period and looked like, oh my gosh, he's on his way to stick him. Didn't do the best nutritional choice after weigh-ins and paid for it and kind of fell apart the last 2 periods. Lesson learned. But yet another one, it's Risser, Flatland, Hiatt, Jurley, all these matches could have gone the other way, and if even one of them did, we win the duel. And so that part hurts a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, we know.
Now we know.
Yep. So RJ went out and got kind of surprised, I would say. He hasn't wrestled Owen Murphy before. And Murphy's the real deal, but I just think it was a little bit of shell shock. Like, I think he just kind of got like, oh God, like this kid's solid.
A little overconfident.
Yeah. And kind of went to big stuff right away and paid for it.
I mean, if it's the Murphy I know, I know his dad very well, Mr. Adam Murphy, and I'm sure he's still on the coaching staff.
I think so.
The Murphy boys were very big freestyle throwers, counters. They weren't no pushovers in wrestling by any means.
Owen's going to be a placer this year. It looks like he's ready and everything, and I think RJ just needed a little bit of a test that way. And so, And then, so they bumped up Murphy with RJ, and then we bumped up Max, and Kuiper followed. And it's kind of funny. Like, Kuiper looks like a world beater in the first period every single time. And then Max, shouldn't have given up as many points. We wanted him to keep it close. It wasn't like we were confident Max was going to go out and win. But wanted him to keep it close. In the whole third period, Max rode him out with legs. And Kuiper didn't take his face off the mat. to the point of when Kuiper got up and kind of like did this to the crowd or whatever, it's like, buddy, you just got ridden out for 2 minutes to finish the match. I wouldn't be proud of that. I would have like head down, threw a towel over my head, you know, like. So a little bit of a moral victory I don't really believe in those, but like a little confidence boost for Max. So that was great. And then bumped up Blake Fitcher to heavyweight. And the duel was already sealed. Northfield had the win. And before he went out there, I just said, shut him up.
Yeah.
And Blake went out there and
he
destroyed Ackerman. And so at least there's that.
Yeah.
You know, got to at least end on a win. And that was good to see. But
So that was on Thursday.
That was the big one.
That was the big for Thursday. Friday, we had Aliah Fischer go up to Bemidji to an all-girls tournament. She is number 5 ranked. She ended up taking second in probably one of the toughest girl brackets.
Easily.
I mean, I haven't heard anybody else talking about stacked brackets. This one had the number 3, the number 2, and the number 1 ranked girls in the state at that weight. Or one weight below, 2 of them were, one was...
Yeah,
number
it was
2 at 1.
Like mixed.
Yeah. And 2 of them are at 42.
Yep.
So against Ashley Strang from Mille, number 3 ranked girl, Aliah tech-falled her. To tech-fall the number 3 girl, who's also a senior. That's one heck of a match. And then her second round, she wrestled Brianna Berg from Thief River Falls, number 2 ranked, and pinned her. Yep. So... now she just knocked off the number 3, number 2 ranked girls, and then she had the number 1 ranked girl from Bemidji, Kylie Dunnett, and lost 4-0. Got rode out, got taken down, got rode out, and didn't give up any other points, but just couldn't get out from the bottom, and now she knows.
Yep.
Maybe not go on the bottom and just go for takedowns.
Yeah. Well, and she said she could hear her breathing heavily as though she was gassed that whole third, too.
Yep.
So, Aliah knows her gas tank now.
Yep. I mean, a little more conditioning and just a little more, just attack a little more on the feet. And I don't see nothing holding Aliah back this year.
And that's 8th grader versus all of these were seniors.
Seniors, all 3 seniors.
Yeah.
So, the ranking should be changed after this last weekend.
Yes.
We'll see where she ends up this next week on the polls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday you were Zumbrota-Mazeppa.
Yeah, and that's always tough. Zumbrota always has Kenyon Wanamingo along and Centennial, who another mid-tier team kind of like us. So we started the day off against number 7 in single A, Kenyon Wanamingo, and this one last year came down to heavyweight. Both teams last year had some people out, and so it was not a really great indication. And we lost 19-36. That's with a couple of people out yet again. Jaden Jurley sitting out that day with a little bit of a head injury, and so we brought up Justin Gronley. Yep. So him and Lane kind of switched off who's bumping up, and then walked in without any true heavyweight. So Caden Keller's coming back from injury, and Grant Lauer was on a trip to where he's going to college, Bemidji State. So just happened to need to bump somewhere. And so, lost 19-36, but a couple of cool things in that duel. At 145, Gavin Johnson from Kenyon Wanamingo, a senior, Trey Hiatt, a sophomore, took him to the wire 4-1 and got ridden out the last, and Gavin got away with stalling, just flat out stalling. And in looking back, if Trey would have given up 1, not 2 when he started the third period, I think Trey would have gassed him against the number 1 kid in the state. Yeah. So gave Trey a lot of confidence that he belongs, and it was cool to see him actually frustrated, I should have had that one against the number 1 kid in the state. Yeah. So that was a cool thing for him to kind of gauge. Then we went out against the number 4 ranked team, Zumbrota-Mazeppa in AA, who is just, they made the Final Four at the Clash this year. They are
legit.
A real team. Yeah. Everyone is jacked. Everyone has traps and shoulders, regardless of their skill level. They're big dudes. We lost 10-51, which was better than Kenyon did against them, actually. And that's with 2 matches that could have gone the other way. We nearly took 5 matches out of 13 against Zumbrota. So, but they're stacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely stacked.
How many seniors do they have?
They had 6 in a row through the middle of their lineup. Kreeger and those guys are all Lochner. They're all locked in. So,
and when you run into a team that has 6 seniors, boom, 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 and I mean they're going to be. I mean, they're not first-year wrestling seniors,
right?
That are there down there in Zumbrota. So
it was cool to see. Kaden Lindquist wrestled great all day, like very, very advanced, mature. All 3 of his kids actually were really good. Centennial kid wasn't good, but Kenyan kid was solid, and the Zumbrota kid, and he sees both of these guys in freestyle and stuff in the off season. So he was like not nervous, but like, hey, I have some real matches here. Wrestled very, very poised, and then against a real stud at 114, who was all of 114, all of 116 on that day. Jacob Wilson threw Gent Beyer twice and had him on his back and had him stuck one time. And Gent tech-falled Kaden last year. Like, Gent's going to go to state and probably place. And Wilson threw him twice.
Oh.
And kind of had him. And it was Aliah, his father, Jeremy.
Yeah.
One of them was pure hip toss gold. And it was just cool to see. So he was like coming off smiling, even though he ended up getting teched, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, But, we looked tough. And then to finish the day, we beat Centennial 36-25. And we beat them being sloppy, honestly.
Okay.
Like, we wrestled so smart, so tight the first 2 duels that it was actually kind of a letdown. Yeah, we won as a team that final round, but we kind of let Centennial in. They shouldn't have scored more than like 15 points on us. So, just a little bit of polish. We have to learn to put the boot on the throat type of stuff.
Whenever you can, you got to do it.
Yep. So, and then this week.
Oh, big week this week.
Yeah, 2 different home meets. So this Thursday, January 18th, we have Alumni Night against Mankato East.
Yes. To start the night off, I'm going to invite everybody down to Reggie's. That's where we're going to do our raffle for the guns. Down at Reggie's at 5:30 is when the raffle is. Alumni invited down there for, you want to say, a tailgate, pregame.
So get there more
pre-match.
Like 4:45.
Yeah. Whenever you get off of work, head on down.
Right.
Any alumni, anybody that wants to come down, they're going to be down there. And then JV starts at 6 p.m.
Yep, 6 o'clock. And then just so happens we kind of did a few things. So it's Alumni Night, so of course we'll do an alumni picture, call everybody down onto the mat. That'll be cool and recognize. But on the other side of that, too, we have teamed up with the Owatonna Cheer board. And so their youth cheerleaders have been learning a routine, and they're going to do a little thing for us, and then they're going to line the mat. And I think they said they had like 25 girls or something. So, they'll all be mat side cheering on as long as they can stand it, so that'll be right before varsity. And then we're also doing a thing that I want to kind of make a mainstay for almost every home duel we do, which is we're inviting everyone to bring in used or new.
Or new, yes.
Yeah, youth wrestling shoes. Just because we could always use some help in that department. There's some families that need a little financial assistance, and we don't want to turn anyone away, obviously. And we want them to be properly equipped.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is a little contest.
Yeah, and the shoe part is, a new wrestler, he comes in with his tennis shoes, he feels out of place.
Sure.
If we can help him out and give him shoes. I mean, we do it at middle school. I know at the high school, even when kids just all of a sudden don't have shoes because they outgrew them and they're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I need to borrow a pair of shoes. We have them for them. So,
right.
I mean, and with the little ones, it's when they get put on finally get wrestling shoes. I mean, we've had a couple middle schoolers this year that came in and were like, hey, we got shoes. You got wrestling shoes for us, and put them on, and I don't think one of them has taken them off.
That's awesome.
So,
that's adorable.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so bring in your shoes. You're going to tie the laces together, and we're going to have a shoe toss, and the person closest to the center of the mat, so we're going to be standing around the edge. Thought we could do it from like the walking track, but that's
a
got the
far.
lamp there too. There's a lot of stuff that could go wrong. So we're going to be around the wrestling mat and toss the shoes into the center, and still working out a prize. It's closest to the center is going to get a prize, but guess what? All these kids win.
Yeah.
If we're bringing shoes and helping out the community, and so I feel like that fits with Alumni Night in general, the spirit of it. So, and then we got varsity. So with all those events, varsity might be a little bit more like 7:15, 7:20 that night, but we are under the lamp. It's a head-to-head duel against East, and they have a few strong kids in the upper weights. We should be pretty favored until we get to about the 52 range, and then it's a fight.
Cool. Yep.
So yeah, and then Saturday. Davis duels. So
we clean up everything Friday night or Thursday night, and then
they got basketball Friday,
and then Saturday morning we reset up again.
Yep. So we have a varsity dual team format tournament, which is basically we're just going to kind of run round robin with the teams we have there. We have Maple River USC, Adrian, Fulda MCC as one school, and then St. Paul Harding. And so we're going to run 4 rounds of wrestling starting at 10 a.m. And so each team's going to have 3 duels. We have some conference or section rivals in there that don't want to wrestle each other. So it's going to be 3 duels and 1 bye, and we'll release kind of that schedule as we go here. And then in the auxiliary gym next door, we'll have mats running for the JV tournament. And then we're going to have some girls-only brackets in there. And some other schools have chipped in some girls at certain weights and stuff for that.
Oh, good.
And it's the namesake. Coach Scott Davis will be there. And actually, he's been at like every meet anyway. He's in Zumbrota. He was at Northfield. We're seeing him everywhere. So, yeah, come on down. It's going to be a great day. Next year, we're going to run it on a Friday night, right before Stockwell and our Min USA in December. But, yeah, it'll be a good day. And take a seat. Everything supports the OWA, so admission, concessions, all of that day. It's kind of a fundraiser in the same right. So get that extra slice of pizza. Maybe triple your water intake that day.
Or
whatever
a Prime energy drink.
Oh yeah, or Prime. Jeez, these kids.
Yeah, that's our top sales. Something we don't.
They're breaking the bank. I mean, thanks Logan Paul, but no thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, well I did a lot of talking. What's all this about?
Well, first I'll jump into the youth. Friday night we have the Friday night rumble at the middle school, and is it
TCU is coming.
Yep, we have another town coming. Former alumni.
Eli Ross.
Eli Ross is bringing over TCU to have a little rumble with our youth. Just a Friday night. If you're bored and want to go see some little kids scrap it out on the mat, come up to the middle school.
It's the cutest.
Yeah. So then middle OMS, last Saturday we were at Mankato East for a tournament. We got put in the wrong side of the bracket, if I can say that properly. We were put on. We ended up in 3rd place decisively, and no problem taking 3rd. Should have been 2nd, but we had Zumbrota-Mazeppa first round. So we ended up.
So you're saying we should have been like 2 seed in their 1 seed?
Yeah, and then we should have wrestled them in the finals. Sure. But it just, we were late to get in the tournament. They threw us in, and Mankato East ended up in 2nd. So you can take that for what it is. Zumbrota kind of stuck it to us right away. It was they like to armbar. I can say that. I had the extras. We actually had. All the extras actually had a little tournament of our own 4-man brackets, and basically it was just the extras of Zumbrota and Owatonna wrestling each other on another mat, because I had 9 and they had 10. So and all our kids, everybody got to wrestle Zumbrota.
Oh, that's cool.
And they liked down at the middle school, they liked the bars. Gotcha. Constantly grabbing our arms and pulling them back. We need to work on that. But then we ended up wrestling Austin, and that we stuck it to them pretty good. Okay. So we ended up in 3rd.
Gotcha.
And this week for the middle school, tomorrow night we are in Northfield. And then on Saturday we are in Farmington for the conference championship.
Gotcha.
It's a nice, decent, big tournament. So if you're up in the cities and not at the Davis Duels, swing into Farmington and watch the middle school.
Yeah, and we'll be hosting that. I don't know if it's going forward or just next year, but like at least doing that this weekend come next year.
Yes. So so that'll be good. We'll be able to get home, have a couple more tournaments here at home.
Exactly.
And then also, we still have some gun raffle tickets for sale. They will be for sale still down at Reggie's on Thursday night up until the drawing.
Yep. So see any of us, including the guy who's running it. You may know him, Mike Megger of Brick Megger Funeral Homes. So if you see that little pistol around town, that's a gun raffle joke.
Yeah.
You can definitely hit him up. I believe he's always strapped with tickets.
Yep.
Another
one. I gotcha.
So yeah, you can definitely hit him up
or shoot him a call.
Yeah, there you go. Boom, there we go. So yeah, that'll be fun, and it's obviously going towards a good call or a good cause. We turn those funds around and put it towards youth equipment, youth tournaments. We pay for the admission at tons of tournaments for our youth wrestlers. We really want to go towards encouraging, if kids do want to go to tournaments, to our best ability, we're going to not have them pay to get in.
Yep. Just, the entry fees to get there,
Yep.
It helps out a lot. I mean, sometimes you start adding it up, and we do give a lot back.
Yeah.
That's why we do these fundraisers. That's why we put in this work and have all this stuff, is to get these kids out for wrestling and help support them.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're going to be right back with our podcast guest, and so don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Today's guest on the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly podcast, Mr. Dave Seykora, who is directly involved in the high school program right now with his son Charlie. How we doing, sir?
Good, thank you.
Good. So, Owatonna Wrestling alum?
Mm-hmm.
What class were you?
82.
82. Okay, so we still in Dick Black days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
All 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dick, I believe, retired in 85.
85. Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Dick and Marshall.
Yep. We had Marshall on.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
Yeah, right before Christmas we had him on.
Class guy.
Yep.
But he complained a lot about this Dave Seykora guy. So
As well he should have.
Okay. So class of 82. What have you always been in Owatonna after that, or did you come back after?
Born and raised on a dairy farm out by Pratt, the metropolis.
Yeah.
Went to the high school. After that, started working. Worked for my sister and brother-in-law, own a ready-mix business out of Waseca. And I've worked for them for 30 years. And after my dad passed away, my mom couldn't live on our farm anymore. So about a year after that, I bought the place, and me and my wife took the house down, built a new house, back to where we started, back to where I started, I should say. And absolutely love it out there. Good place to raise a family.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so we'll get into the wrestling part of it. So coming through under Dick Black, how would you describe your 4 years of wrestling with him? Or for him, I should say, or if you had the chance to wrestle against him. In practice, did he ever get a hold of you?
I was stupid enough to take that opportunity on. That was the longest 6 minutes of my life. The man had forearms that were just on the verge of a wire brush against your face. And he had no problem putting it there.
Yeah.
No, Dick was probably the finest technician that I ever had a chance to wrestle for. I mean, it isn't like, a guy had multiple coaches, obviously, but he was, boy, if he didn't know it, nobody did. Especially at that time. Mm-hmm. Greco-Roman was, always the Olympic sport, but there was starting Greco-Roman at that time. Freestyle, when I was probably in about 8th or 9th grade was just on the come then. And that was the change that we see now. But Dick, he was such a old style wrestler. He knew that if we could get our hands on somebody, we could win every match, and that was his firm belief, and he didn't teach freestyle wrestling, plain and simple.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, and Seykora, popular name in Owatonna wrestling. Where do you fit in with that? Siblings?
Brother Chuck, he was a captain of the team in '72. Kenny, a captain in '77. And then my older brother, Ronnie, wrestled. Didn't particularly like the stink of the wrestling room. Don't blame him. I don't think any one of the three of us ever did.
We're not going to bottle it.
No, it wouldn't sell well.
No.
And then, of course, Clint, Brian, Dale, their dad, Scott, cousins.
So Dale's cousin.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So.
And they were the 90s boys.
Yes. Yep. It was always fun to watch them. And, Dale and my brother Chuck wrestled together. So.
Okay. So, back when you were coming through, what was your favorite move that if you knew, okay, I can get it, I'm doing this move? What move would that have been?
Headlock.
Headlock? I like it.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
End the match as fast as you can.
Yep.
Like Dick Black said, he goes, the guy that you shake hands with is the one that made you cut weight all week. He said, do whatever means it takes to make sure that you walk out with your hand in the air. So
I heard that quite a few times too. That's the guy that made you do it. So wrestling back then to compared to now, which style would you rather? I mean, like if you could pick an era, would you rather wrestle now, or would you have rather? I mean, would you stay back in the '80s?
Boy.
I mean, now if you come now, you were trained up this way, so you know how to do. I mean, you're not just getting thrown into it. Which style would you?
I was going to say if you put me out on the mat with my style, I'd get dinged so many times for stalling it wouldn't even be funny. I would prefer to wrestle now.
Yeah.
Simply for the fact that back then, leg riding was huge.
Okay.
And as long as you had a leg in and you were trying, I mean, you made it look like you were trying, put it that way. You weren't going to get called for stalling.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as you put a leg in, guy stood up, bang, potentially dangerous, start again. The mat time, it slowed down so much when you had a heavy leg wrestler that was ahead by a point or two.
Yeah.
And he knew if this guy got away from him, that could be the end of things if that guy got his hands back on him again.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And I was guilty of it myself.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Oh. So, at what age, were you guys introduced kind of like out of the womb, like so many farm kids around here, as far as like, hey, you're going to wrestle, or did it take a little bit for you to really get into?
Probably for me, I was the youngest of our family, so Chuck wrestled, and Chuck was 10 years older than me, so by the time he was 16 years old, I was 6, so he came home after wrestling practice, beat up Kenny. Well, after we got done with chores, well, guess who got beat up in the living room?
Yep.
So, yeah, to answer your question,
Right.
yeah, basically, as soon as you were able to crawl,
Basically.
you know, I mean, you were, and then of course, you know, what'd you do? Okay, I can't beat up Kenny, I can't beat up Chuck. Well, you got to find a neighbor.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so you start beating up on the neighbor. Okay, that's how Paul Prestigard starts wrestling. You know, Jim Abbey. You know, both of those two were '83 grads. I'm sure that was part of the reason they started wrestling. So
Absolutely.
but
And then you have a junior right now,
Yep.
Mr. Charles Big Chuck, as we call him, Seykora.
mm-hmm.
How about him? You know, like, what was he like as I know him now? The loudest person in the room, just a handful, just wild. No, he is an old soul, very soft spoken, just the sweetest kid. You're kind of introducing him to the sport, or was that kind of like his buddies? Like, what got him in?
I think I initially kind of gave him a little push into it, but then of course Ethan Schubert, and Jason was, you know, always, you know, trying to push Charlie, kind of, you know, keep him coming. And the year we built our house, Charlie didn't want to wrestle because I wouldn't go to wrestling with him and help coach him a little bit, you know. And you know, Jason tried his best to get Charlie to come, but he took a year off then. But if you could coach some of that niceness out of him,
That's been the problem.
I think we would have it.
Well, he's such a gamer, though. Like, what's funny is he's like nice to his teammates in the practice room, and then he goes out and he's actually one of the meanest kids out on the mat, which is funny. And it's like, okay, let's do both though. Let's, you know, because I get it. Like, they're your pals in the wrestling room and everything like that, and that's a weird mental block for some kids. But then he's a gamer no matter what. He gets out on the match, he takes his glasses off.
And can't see
He
anything.
just sees silhouettes. So if those of you don't know, you know, we basically never give him hand signals because he can't see over to the bench, and so we have to like just yell out what we want. But yeah, he's it's cool to see him too. He hit the weights really well, and he's kind of in between weight classes. Unfortunately, this would have been the year if they hadn't gotten rid of the 182 class. That would have been perfect for him. But now it's a jump from 72 to 89, and he's right in the middle of that. And you can tell it's kind of, he gets a big, strong, full 189. Those are the only kids he has problems with. You know, everyone else, like, he can handle them because I don't think they're ready for his kind of spidery hips and stuff like that. So
As long as he keeps, you look at him, and he kind of wrestles a little bit like I used to, on the brink of disaster.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
And as long as your hips don't get pinned underneath that guy, you're going to be fine. And he does a good job, not always, but trying to keep his hips up.
Yeah.
And I told him, I says, as long as you got quick hips, you'll be able to get in and out of trouble.
Yep.
As it desires.
And back to that, the strength you were saying, it's a sneaky strength.
It is.
It is very sneaky because I had him in freestyle last year when he would come to practices, and I tangled with him. I wasn't expecting that when he grabbed. I'm like, whoa. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I got to be a little tougher on this one because it was sneaky. I wasn't expecting. I knew he was strong. I wasn't expecting that to grab me And I've had a couple other kids like that where you're not expecting it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, somebody's been hitting the weight room. So
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's strong until you look at him from behind, and then
Yeah, he's got the back for it. It was funny. We had a takedown tournament, so to that point of we're wrestling live during a practice, and then we had a little kid style takedown tournament, and I'm pretty sure he took down RJ and almost took down someone else, and it's like, well, there it is, let's. I don't know, like spike of adrenaline. Like once the adrenaline hits, like I said, he's a gamer. He needs like that actual like stakes on the line, and then you see him lock in and really use his full potential. So, but yeah, thank you for lending him to us. He's such a good kid and always such a quiet character, but nonetheless like one of the team favorites. Because he is just the smiliest, happiest kid. And
I have not seen him not smile. I mean, I can't think of a time where he was actually not smiling.
Yeah, he's so fun. So
you did well there.
Yeah, you mentioned your wife Sue, any other people you want to shout out to?
I got my oldest daughter Leah. And she graduated in, let's do the math right, 20. And then my daughter Kate graduated in 22, and Charlie will be in 25, obviously. Brothers Kenny and Ronnie, sister Nance. So
maybe your wife.
And my wife Sue. And my wife Sue, thank you.
Yep. I'm here to help you out.
And I'm glad you are.
Yeah. Good save.
But thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. And
thanks for coming.
Love seeing you at all the meets and the support. And once again, before we go, thank you to Summer Media Solutions for your support for this podcast and all you do, and the support for the OWA and for Coach Hovden and myself. We hope to.
Again, Alumni Night.
Alumni Night, Thursday.
Still got tickets for sale. Thursday down at Reggie's before 5:30.
Yeah, we better see everyone. Don't forget your used or new wrestling shoes for anybody in the K through 12 range. Bring that and maybe win a prize. Get to the center of the circle on Thursday. So we'll see you then. Take care.
Till next week.